Okay, so I want to introduce you to this idea of one-tailed, or sometimes referred to as directional hypothesis tests, effect size, and then reporting results. So a one-tailed hypothesis is a hypothesis test that it isn't only looking for any significant difference. As I was describing potential outcomes of sample means, I was working on both the right tail and the left tail of our normal distribution. However, a one-tailed hypothesis test focuses only on the right tail or the right tail. It's not looking for any outcome, it's looking for a more specific outcome. It's focused specifically on a direction of difference. In this test, the researcher is looking for an increase or a decrease in hypothesized population mean. Consider if we were researching the effectiveness of embedded tutoring. Okay. In this research, we're focusing on the improvement of grades. We want to know that embedded tutoring is helping students. So we want to see an increase, therefore a movement to the right of our mean, in student grades, right? In the sample mean of student grades. We're not looking for a decrease. Okay, if we're looking at the efficacy of embedded tutoring, we're not wondering if something's happening over to the left. We want to know what's happening to the right. All right, effect size. So while hypothesis testing is the most commonly used technique for evaluating and interpreting research data, one major critique is that we only determine if there is significance. Okay, think about it. Our step one is saying, is there not significance in our null hypothesis, or is there significance in our research hypothesis? So we're only saying there either is or is not significance. That is to say, then, that hypothesis testing doesn't reveal how significant a result is. If you have a really large sample, almost any difference can result in a significant finding. Researchers therefore report on what's called the effect size. Effect size is intended to provide a measurement of the strength of the relationship or difference between variables regardless of sample size. And we'll see how we can get SPSS to produce effect sizes for us. And finally, just a note on reporting results. So moving forward, we'll be conducting statistical analysis primarily in SPSS, though we'll still learn the underlying formula. When we report findings, we are going to describe them as being significant or statistically significant, or as not statistically significant. There are different ways to report results based on the analysis we're conducting, so pay close attention to the appropriate format when writing up your results. As you can imagine, of course, I'm going to give you, all the additional documentation that you need in order to learn how to appropriately write up the results of an analysis. But I didn't want to get too specific in this presentation because the way that you report those results is going to differ based on the kind of analysis that we're conducting. So we'll see that as we start moving more into the next half of this module with t-tests. Okay, so that's all I got. Hopefully you found this helpful. Remember that this particular module was, this particular half of the module was focused on hypothesis testing, a little bit more specifically on the 4 steps of hypothesis testing. As always, y'all got questions, you know where to find me.